everybody, and welcome to the Self-Checkout Show. It is your favorite Christian talk show, and this is the show where we take an honest look at what's in our hearts, minds, and spirits, and we are glad to be back with you on another Monday night. Happy Monday, everybody, wherever you're watching from, whether it be Facebook, YouTube, wherever we're being viewed right now. Welcome, and thank you for tuning in to the Self-Checkout Show. I am your host, Pastor Will, along with my beautiful co-host, Coach Crystal Love. She got a lot of different names, but she's Crystal Love tonight, okay? And of course, sitting in for Dr. Nancy tonight is my favorite girl, the prophetess, the author, the pastor, the singer, the worship leader. She's all of that. Her name is Sheridan Davis. Welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Of course. Let's kill this music. Welcome, everybody, to the show. So glad that you could join us tonight. Come on, drop those comments. Let us know that you are watching. Drop hearts on Facebook. Share on Facebook. We really need you to share this tonight. I say that like all the time, and I mean it all the time. But what we are going to tackle tonight, I really want you to share this tonight, because it is something that I believe that many of us African Americans have either experienced or have contributed to it. Because we're just gonna tell the truth tonight, and we're going to learn something about us tonight on the show. But before we do all of that, before we find out what's going on with the coach and with Sheridan, by way of announcement, this coming Saturday is the Balm in Gilead Healing and Miracles Prayer Breakfast. Well, it's not prayer breakfast, but it's a breakfast. Mm-hmm. Nevertheless, we're so used to calling them prayer breakfasts, but it is brought to us by the School of the Prophet. Of course, Dr. Linda Stennis is the CEO of the School of the Prophet, and we are going to be in the building Saturday morning, 10 a.m., and it is taking place at Ashton Place, which is at 341 75th Street in Willowbrook, Illinois. Tickets are only $60 for this event. And I said last week when I was talking about it, I'm going to say it again. Do not come to this breakfast thinking that it is your typical ordinary prayer breakfast, because it's not. I'm telling you right now, we are talking about, and you got to know Dr. Linda Stennis to really feel what I'm about to say to you. We are talking about bring the sick. We're talking about bring the folks that's in wheelchairs. We're talking about bring people that cannot hear, bring the blind, bring those who have terminal illnesses. I'm talking about miracles, okay? If you know Dr. Linda, you know what this is all about. This is a mandate from God to her to have this event, and this is the time for it. Mental illness, if you're struggling in your mental health, anxiety, depression, fear, whatever it is, you need to bring it to this meeting Saturday morning. All right? Don't forget, Saturday morning, if you would like tickets, reach out to me. I have tickets you can get. Just be there. Just be there and be ready to receive your miracle and your healing. All right? Also, coming up in June, we miss Dr. Nancy, of course, but coming up in June, Dr. Nancy has a book club that she is well, she's the owner or
It's
the
hers.
whatever you want to call it, And it is the book club with Dr. Nancy. The next discussion starts in June, just a couple of weeks. Y'all, it's almost June already. Good God. All right. And this, in the month of June, the book that she has chosen is again from Dr. Linda Stennis. And this book is entitled May I Borrow a Cup of Sugar? It's prophetic insights on kingdom connections. And I will tell you that I have, and I am not exaggerating when I say this, I have read this book 5 times. Get something new out of it every time. Your greatest kingdom connection could be so close to you, as simple as going next door saying, "Excuse me, may I borrow a cup of sugar?"
Yep.
That's how close your next kingdom connection is to you. So let's join Dr. Nancy on Saturdays at 9 a.m. starting the first Saturday in June. I will definitely be a part of that book club. So we are proud of Dr. Nancy. We appreciate her for allowing our apostle to be a part of this book club. That's a great book, y'all. I'm telling you. If you would like that book, reach out to me. Let me know. I can make sure you get it in your hands. And I won't say that because we don't know if it's 100. I wish my apostles were on so they could text me and I could find out some more information because we might have a little extra something happening this Saturday at the breakfast, but we'll see. Nevertheless, ladies and gentlemen, I have Coach Crystal. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
You look well.
Essence has graduated. She got her master's, and
Yes,
she will
she
be
did.
here Wednesday.
She did. I was so proud, and she was so beautiful to see her walk across that stage to get her freaking master's degree, huh?
You saw me get mine too. You saw me up
Yes,
there.
of course.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Let's make sure now, because
So
we
we are
both
so
mastered
proud.
up.
We are so very proud of her. Congratulations again to Essence with your pretty self. So you've been busy, Coach. You still walking?
I am still walking. I have a challenge that I joined for 100 miles over the summer. So yes, I am still walking.
Oh, nice,
Yeah,
nice. Okay, I walk every day at work. They
very
walk
good.
me to death. I mean, they walks me back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Now
I
we got
promise you, I know I'm doing 10,000 steps in eight
you
hours. I
are,
know I am.
but we got to get part of that to be you walking because you want to, not walking against your will. You know that job will run you.
Yeah, they will. They they,
They
they
will.
will.
They
Yeah,
will.
yeah. But that is for sure. So, um, tell us more about this challenge, though.
So it was on Facebook. A young lady sent it to me because she had been trying to up her steps to get to 10,000. And I logged on. You just log your miles in, whatever you do daily until you get 100 miles over the summer. Yep.
Okay, I
I
like
said,
that. I
okay,
like that
I
idea.
can do that.
I like that idea. I at work. I know I do it. I'm gonna do it.
You do it.
uh, and of course, joining us tonight is my favorite girl. Everybody, throw up some hearts if you're on Facebook for my girl Sheridan Davis.
Hey
Hey,
y'all.
Sheridan, you still celebrating
Oh yes.
your birthday,
Listen, God gave us life and we ought to celebrate while we're here.
huh?
That's
I'm
right.
all for celebrating,
That's
Yes.
right.
and I had the privilege of celebrating with you on yesterday.
Yes.
That hibachi, man,
It looks good.
it was delicious. Let me tell y'all something. You know, some food is good to me
Uh-huh.
if I eat all my vegetables.
Very
All
good. Very good.
Listen, I ate all of them.
thank you.
I ate every vegetable on the plate, okay? Man, that food was so good. And them shrimp, oh my goodness.
Mm.
It was really, really good. And thank you for coming. We had a great time.
Of course, yeah. I want to give a shout out to Pastor Angela Smith, who We kept making fun of because she kept taking the yum yum sauce. And,
Oh,
It was good.
so she might jump on here in a few minutes. Again, everybody, thank you for tuning wherever you're tuning in from. Please, if you haven't shared, this is a good place to share because we're going to begin our discussion for tonight. Um, and tonight we are talking about something that is a real thing,
mhm.
right? And that is colorism. Colorism. If you are not familiar, let me give you what this is. Colorism is a form of discrimination based on skin tone, where individuals with lighter skin tones are often privileged over those with darker skin tones.
Mhm.
This phenomenon is particularly prevalent in communities of color, where it can lead to internalized racism, self esteem issues,
Mhm.
and social and economic disparities. Listen to this. Colorism has a long history dating back to colonial, I can't talk, colonialism and slavery,
Uh-huh.
when lighter skin was often associated with wealth, status, and privilege. Let me break that part down for you.
Mhm.
Colorism is rooted in slavery
Yeah.
because if you were light skinned, you were the house.
Mhm.
Y'all understand what I'm
The
saying?
house colored. Mhm.
A house colored. Yes, let's do that. If you were dark skinned, they put you out in the field.
Mhm.
Okay, okay. I'm trying to be politically correct. So today, colorism continues to manifest in various ways, such as discrimination in employment, education, and
Mhm.
justice,
Yep.
beauty standards that favor lighter skin, colorism within families and communities, leading to internalized oppression.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, y'all, this is a real issue. And this one, coach, we can't blame the white man for this one.
Mm-mm.
We
What
can.
You can blame him for the initiation.
for the
Yes,
initiation which happened during slavery
that
Yeah.
is correct.
that pit I would like to say
Hit
that
us against
pit
it. Yeah.
the light skinned black person against the darker skinned black person, right?
Yep.
Okay, so we can blame him, huh?
For the
Okay,
initiation.
the initiation of this,
Right.
um, as we have said, is rooted in slavery for the reasons that we just gave.
Mhm.
Now, in addition to that, I want you to add to the initiation and slavery by answering why else does colorism exist?
Why else? Now, are you saying from racism or how we keep it going?
Um, we know that it stemmed from racism. I would imagine that when that began, it's kind of obvious that it never died.
I think that
Oh, okay.
back at that time frame, even after slavery, when it was trying to die out, if you were fair skinned, you could pass as a white person. Period. And some light skinned people never took that, they never stepped forward and said, well, I'm not really that. I'm a black person. So it's almost as if when you're even as a light skinned person, there's a certain amount of embarrassment for
Mm-hmm.
being black. And then on top of that, after you've been in the big house and they've already made it a preference that we're going to treat you better, not that you were treated good, but we're going to treat you just slightly above those that are in the field or those that have darker skin. We just picked that up and we ran with it, because at that point the white man was done. He was done. He had already dropped the bug, placed it in us, and you know, when you place things in a person, they manifest. You continue to think about it. So we just carried that on, and we're still doing it. Some of it is outright, some of it is under the table, some of it is through, well, I can affect them this way, or through their job, through school. It's not always loud.
Okay.
And I think that's the most hurtful part of it. It's like you can't stand up, just stand on it. It's not always loud.
Good evening, Aisha. How are you? The host of Sophista Ratchet Chats video podcast. Tasha Ivy, I believe she must be a chocolate chip. Huh? Chocolate chips up in here.
Yes.
Welcome, Tasha. Hey, Miss Milton. Welcome. That's cousin?
My auntie.
That's auntie. Okay. I knew it was one of them. And of course, the beautiful and hilarious Ms. Trina Davis, Mrs. Pastor Trina Davis, who, by the way, tickled me so bad yesterday. I want y'all to know. I have watched that reel that I have posted probably about 20 times because that one is hilarious. Anyway, Satara, welcome. Alicia, welcome. All of you guys. The chocolate chips, look, they're coming on through, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Sheridan, in Crystal's last statement, as she was closing what she was saying, she said that it happens sometimes, it's not loud, it's under the table, which is why it hurts so much. You yourself, Lady Natalie Johnson, my favorite. She's my pastor fave. Okay, let's not get this. All right, I got two faves on here. Sheridan, I want to know, have you personally experienced hurt from colorism?
Of course. And I honestly think that, just to be frank, whether a person realizes it or not, if you are a dark-skinned Black person, you have experienced colorism. Now, you may not realize that that's what you've experienced, but you have, because it's an internal bias. So, as we were talking about it beginning in slavery, it didn't end there, like a lot of things that began with slavery, because they were inbred. They are mentally beat into our heads, literally were beaten into our heads, passed down from generation to generation. So there are internal biases that we all have. And sometimes we call it a preference. Sometimes we call it, that's just what I like. Sometimes we call it, that's just my choice. But they are indeed internal prejudice and biases.
Let's talk about that right there. Okay. Let's talk about the internal prejudice, the internal bias.
Okay.
Talk to us about that.
So, unless you are willfully combating it, you have been indoctrinated with certain thoughts, beliefs, and ideals just because of colonization. Okay. I'll give you an example.
Okay.
When you are a kid and kids are playing outside, right? Have you ever heard a parent, teacher, adult, or even another child say, y'all need to come back in the house, y'all need to get no blacker?
Yes.
What's wrong with being Black? What's wrong with being dark? We think that everything in proximity to whiteness is purity. Just like on Pentecost Sunday, we wear white because it symbolizes purity. And so the further you get away from whiteness, we think it's wrong. You don't need to be blacker than you are. So little things like that, little seeds you sow like that. looking hard at a baby's ears and
Yeah.
fingertips because I gotta know what color you're gonna be. We are obsessed with color.
Wow. I never looked at it like that.
Mm-hmm.
And obsessed with features. Oh,
I
her
never
nose
looked at
big.
it like that.
Look at those
Mm-hmm.
big lips. Because at its root, at its core, colorism is anti-blackness.
100%.
Okay. Good evening, my girl Stella, my girl Kimmy. Welcome, guys. Thank you for joining us. Y'all, we're into this tonight. So go ahead and share it because we want as many of your opinions and views on this as possible. Lady Natalie says, we as a people developed a warped sense of beauty, making light or fair beautiful and
Mm-hmm.
dark ugly or unfavored, and internalized that foolery. Wow.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. 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 Um, I, Sheridan, when did you, as early as you can remember, when do you think you were a victim of being, um, or a victim of a colorist?
Probably. I don't know if it was third or fourth grade. I think it was fourth grade.
Tell us what happened.
The first incident that I remember, I was so the way my family is set up, the three oldest kids, we went to the same schools at the same time. We were stair step kids. So we all left the house at the same time. So we all had to come back in together. It wasn't like, oh, I'm walking home and then you walking home. So I was waiting, going to our meetup spot to wait for my siblings to I was waiting on my siblings to come out so we could walk home. And this older girl bumped, like shoulder checked me, like walking into me. She was
Mhm.
dribbling a basketball, a black girl. And she told me to get my black so and so and so and so, all the black things out the way.
Okay.
Now, I don't even think I realized that I was, I don't want to say as dark, but on the darker end of the spectrum until then. And it hurt me to my core. It is a core memory I will probably never forget. I am 33 and I remember that.
Yeah.
And I ran home. I was crying and all this stuff. And the girl is actually dark skinned. So that lets you know about the internalized,
Wow.
okay,
Yeah.
hatred that we have developed as a people.
Um,
Mm.
wow. This is wow. Um, let's take it a little bit further. How, Coach Crystal, I'm going to drop this one on you first. How has colorism affected the Black community? Well, I'm sorry, I had put my preacher voice on for a second.
That's
Sorry, I'm back.
it. Okay, so the Black community, colorism affects your self-esteem. It affects your thought process about yourself. It affects
Good.
your success rate. It affects how you move. It almost gives you an expectation of this is what's going to happen. You can't visibly see the positive because you're waiting for that to happen. So it hinders you. It's always a point where, okay, well, if you're working in a company and everybody's light skinned or everybody's of another race, you're the only Black person, you're just waiting on it to happen, as opposed to thinking, well, they really hired me because when the word token is prominent for us, right?
Mm,
You're either, when you go to colleges, big Ivy League schools, they have to have a certain percentage of Black people when they operate in order to get the funding, in order to get what they need. When you go and you see Black kids out amongst and you see one or two sprinkles, they're known as the token.
yeah,
And what's sad is that because it's already embedded in us, nobody knows how to break the cycle. Somebody has to be the one to break the cycle. And then on top of you trying to break the cycle, you have to almost fight to get them to believe it.
yeah.
So it's just a hindrance. It's just a hindrance.
Sheridan, go ahead.
This is listen. We could write an essay on how colorism has affected the Black community. I'm trying my best to keep it very, very short. It has affected and infected every single area of our lives, every area, dating back. Okay, you talked about colleges, Black Greek letter sororities and fraternities. It affected which sorority you could get into, whether you if you were lighter or darker than a paper bag.
That's right.
When you think of a certain stereotype of what an AKA look like or what a Delta looks like, you know your first thought is what your first thought is.
Okay.
Yep.
Because it's real. Okay. So that, did you all know that back in the day in churches, certain churches you couldn't join
because of how you were
darker than a paper bag?
Wow.
Every area of our lives, when it comes to adoption, because one day I want to adopt. Did you all know that it's harder for darker skinned children to be adopted than lighter skinned children?
Wow.
In media, the video models are usually lighter skin, and then you got a few, they're usually racially ambiguous. Then comes the light-skinned Black girls, and then you get a few dark-skinned tokens here and there. And I'm using the word token on purpose. In our TV shows, our favorites, back to the 90s, light-skinned wives. Now, if you start out with a dark-skinned character, and somehow that character leaves the show, i.e. the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air,
Viv.
They're going to reel in a light-skinned mom, i.e. Family Matters. And there are other options that we could talk to. The villains are darker. Let's give a modern example so we don't think it's just back in the day. The Clark Sisters movie.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
All of them are light-skinned women.
Except
but y'all just happen to cast a dark-skinned woman to play Denise, who's the Black sheep of the family.
Yeah.
Yep.
So every area of our lives, banking, who's getting loans for homes, and this is not stuff I'm making up. Every area of our lives, colorism has affected and infected and infested our community.
Wow. Good evening to Pastor Gregory Huggins Jr. and his wife, Lady Kamisha, who are celebrating their 10th wedding anniversary. Happy anniversary to you guys. Pastor Greg says good evening to everyone, no matter what color you are. I'm here for it. I want to, you just mentioned some TV shows. I have a TV show, a reality TV show that I have witnessed and watched colorism on this show. And I believe that most of us, if you are a Bravo fan like myself, I love Bravo TV. And this show, I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen on the Real Housewives of Potomac. Let me drop this on you real quick. Before Potomac, the Real Housewives of Atlanta was the only show in the Housewives franchise that featured Black women in the cast. Although that changed when Potomac arrived, the cast had their own issues surrounding race. Now, in season 1, the TV website called Vulture. It's a website that they cater to all kind of TV shows, reality, every kind. Vulture criticized the show, Potomac, for having primarily light-skinned women, namely Giselle, Robin, Karen, Ashley, and Katie, and only one dark-skinned woman, Sharice, in the cast. Additionally, Giselle and Robin also received critiques for their comments about Katie's background as a half-white, half-Black woman. Now, here comes season 3, where Candace Dillard Bassett arrives,
Mm-hmm.
and she further ignited the colorism accusations. When she arrived on the show, she immediately defended herself against her castmates with verbal spats. However, Candace has said she receives more flack from her fans for her behavior than her cast member Ashley, who has acted similarly in the
Yeah.
past.
Yeah.
Candace also accused Ashley of directing microaggressive language and terms at her. And of course, Ashley denied. But we see it. It's all over our television.
Mm-hmm.
And when before we went live tonight, I was sharing with Coach Crystal that when I knew I wanted to talk about this, the deeper I got into it, I found myself getting a little heated
Yeah.
because I I guess I don't understand fully how we can be so pro-black yet at the same time anti-black. It don't make sense to me, because for me, black is black.
Correct.
It's a song on Beyonce's not this country album, the one she did before, Renaissance.
Renaissance.
um One of the tracks on there, I think it's T.S. Madison, saying, I'm black, dark skin, beige, fluorescent beige. I'm black, period. No matter what shade you are, the point is, she's like, I'm black, period. No matter what my shade is. And it upsets me that people like Giselle, who was a black woman, Robin, who was a black woman, Ashley, who was a black woman,
Biracial.
Yes, she's biracial.
granted, can look at the likes of somebody like Candace and almost treat her as an outcast in a sense, because you're not like me. And this is all black. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So how can we combat this? How is there any way to combat this?
You know what I think, because when you're younger and your kids, you're out playing, you hear things like, "Oh, she thinks she better because she light skinned," or
Next.
"She got that good hair," or "Oh, she got them green eyes." And a lot of it, the people who are doing the attacks, is because whoever they're attacking, I feel a lot of times they have something that that person wants or wish they had.
Okay.
So you're light, you don't really have that much melanin in your skin. Well, why can't I get dark? Why wasn't I brown? It's always like I'm over here, I'm light skinned, I got good hair, but my hair don't hold no styles. Why can't I have coarse hair? Well, I got coarse hair. I can't really, wear the styles everybody else wears. Why can't I have good hair? It's just like we're always fighting each other on something. And if somebody does get a good thing, then it has to be, well, she got it because, or he got it because. It's like we're always fighting each other.
Yeah.
It's just a problem. And how can we do it? I have absolutely no idea, because nobody wants to listen to reason.
Sheridan, do you think there's a way we can combat this?
Yeah. So firstly, let me just say I don't necessarily believe that we're fighting each other because the next person has something that they want. I don't necessarily think that. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because people who are colorists, or I don't want to say colorists, people who are privileged in
Okay.
the area of colorism, they use that phrasing to make themselves seem like victims. So if I'll give you an example, we'll have a person who benefits from colorism, who is on the lighter end of the spectrum. They'll say, well, I've experienced colorism too. The girls used to try to cut my hair. That's not colorism. It's bullying, but that's not colorism. So I don't want to allow someone who benefits from a system to be able to say, woe is me. You know what I'm saying? Like that wears me out. But let me say, this is how I think we should combat it, because I feel like I'm doing my personal best. Number one, having the discussions. It's very important for us to have them. If you notice on Real Housewives of Potomac at the reunion, which I think is wildly inappropriate for a white man to facilitate this discussion, but the housewives decided to let him do it. Andy was going to allow someone else to do it, but that is wildly inappropriate. I just want to say that. Insane for that to have happened. We have to have the discussions amongst each other with someone who has the range to talk and deal with colorism. And among people who will listen. So if the leaders in our community, for some reason, we are fixated with entertainers, if they can have actual real deal conversations without being defensive and actually listening and realize what they're doing and how they contribute, if they can have a discussion on a larger stage, that would be amazing. And we can have those discussions in our homes. That would be, if you as a parent can stop perpetuating colorism amongst your children, that would be amazing, so that they are not going to school and continuing to repeat the same cycle. If charity starts at home, so does love, so does peace, so does blackness, so does anti-blackness. So if at home you as a parent can stop yourself from saying and perpetuating these things, I think that can help. I did a pageant for dark-skinned girls. Honey, you would have thought I shot 5 people the way the people of God was coming for me for having this pageant. They were saying, well, if I did a pageant for light-skinned girls, how would you feel? When we talk about colorism, I want us to look at this. It is internalized or within the same group, prejudice and bias, right?
Right.
If you had a white person say to you what you just said to a dark-skinned person, would it offend you? If the answer is yes, it's colorist.
That's good.
So if a white person said, why do y'all need HBCUs? We got colleges. If we started an all-white college,
you have.
And they say this, if we start an all-white college, why would you like that? You did. We had to start because y'all wouldn't have us in those colleges, right? And so if you are saying something where if a white person said it to you, it would be deemed as racist, you colorist, boo.
Yeah. This next question is kind of I don't know. I'm just gonna put it out there. Coach, is racism equivalent to colorism?
To a degree.
Talk about that.
Oh, you asking these heavy questions, and I feel like the basis of it, yes, it's the same. You're discriminating against a group of people who are different than you. Yes. When I think about colorism, the first thing that comes to me is how we approach it, because other races, and that's not to say that in other races they don't have their own level of colorism. I don't think, probably not in the white race, but other races where they have different shades. Colorism is our thing. That's our take, our turn on it. It was originally racism, and the base of it is the same. I think the two, they're cousins, but they're not sisters.
Okay. Sheridan.
I would say racism is the parent, colorism is the baby. Unfortunately, colorism is in every community but the white community. So Indian people, their caste system, oh my God. If you speak to Hispanic people,
Mm-hmm.
even amongst the diaspora, so not just Black Americans, but Black Dominicans, Black Africans
Mm-hmm.
from the continent, etc. If you hear them, they try to distance themselves from us.
Okay.
I'm not Black like them. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's in all the racial groups except the whites because they are the parents. They the creators, and the rest of us are dealing with this confusion because they have set this up through racism. So yeah.
How do other physical characteristics besides skin color play a role in colorism?
Go ahead, sure.
Featureism.
Talk
So
about that.
there are certain attributes, physical attributes that are, I don't want to say assigned, that are stereotypically Black.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Wider noses, fuller lips, nappy, I hate that, nappy hair, things of that nature. So Coach Crystal had brought this up earlier, okay? Talking about good hair.
Yeah.
If you watch Spike Lee's School Days,
Yes.
Yep.
perfect, right? That's a perfect place if you want to start learning about, just start. You got to move past that, but to start learning about colorism.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about good and bad hair, right?
Yeah.
You dark or you fair. Now, so a person with kinkier hair texture, that is a Black phenotype. So when a person has looser, like Ashley from Real Housewives of Potomac, she is a mixed race woman. I'm pointing out biracial on purpose because our difference, our what do I want to say? Our experiences are different.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So with a woman who has a looser curl pattern at some of those schools who have to have tokenism and places that will need to hire a Black person.
Yeah.
If that I came in with these locks, no ma'am. It's considered unprofessional.
Mm-hmm.
Ghetto,
Mm-hmm.
ignorant.
Mm-hmm.
So if you'll see a lot of Black women with wigs.
Mm-hmm.
Who was that? Sis just went viral for the bad blonde hair, bad butch body.
Yeah. What's her name?
Green.
Jasmine. Yes. You notice she got a wig on.
Yeah.
She just can't come in there with her afro.
No, ma'am.
Because she's in a political space and she has to assimilate to some degree to what is considered whiteness. So other things that are ours, hair, sometimes your eyes, nose, lips, cheeks. You know, Africans and
They're
people
higher.
our diaspora tend to have fuller cheeks, things of that nature.
Is there such thing as dark skin privilege?
To meet a quota.
Interesting. Such as those tokens,
percentages
and
that
and what have you.
Yeah.
Okay. Sheridan?
No,
there's no such thing as dark skin privilege.
Not in my mind. I do understand what you're saying though, as far as the tokenism, but if you're a token, you're not privileged. And most times when you are the token, that's right, Tara.
Yes.
Most times when you are the token, you are not dark skinned. So I'll give you an example. I don't want to call him a token because he's my fave. But our former president, Barack Obama, they was not going to have a Bernie Mac looking man be the first Black president.
Gotcha.
Now, the first Black president can be palatable, marketable. So we're going to get a biracial man. You see what I'm saying?
I got you.
Things of that nature. I don't think there's a thing called dark skin privilege. Somebody else might, but I don't.
What are some examples of colorism in social media?
Advertisements, who they choose to model their clothes, how makeup is advertised or marketed to you. There's always a light skinned woman, but there'll be one woman that's maybe not even chocolate, but she'll be brown.
Okay.
I agree. In the influencer space, um,
Yeah.
it's financial. Who gets the big money for the ads?
Yeah.
So a black or a darker skinned woman, it's been exposed with several companies. I've had to stop shopping at some companies because the influencers will come together and realize, oh, I'm making significant less money than my light skinned counterpart.
Mm-hmm.
So in the influencer space, it's about finances. Who gets good ads? Who gives what ads? Am I just selling y'all wigs, or did I get uh, a, a makeup ad? You know,
Yeah.
it's all throughout social media.
Sheridan, you said something earlier.
I'm
This is
sorry,
not a
and who gets
commercial.
pushed through the algorithm? I meant to say that too. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. You said something earlier. This was not one of the questions that I plan on asking, but I do want to ask. You mentioned, I think both of you may have mentioned the word preference.
And
My
share.
question is, what's the difference between colorism and preference?
Go ahead, ma'am.
Oh, I wanted you to go ahead.
No, because you had mentioned preference before. You know that normally happens on like the side of the man. Well, I just prefer a lighter woman, or they say stuff like, "I like for her to look exotic," if you will.
So if a man says, "Oh, I want her to be light skinned, whatever," does that make him a colorist, or is that just his preference,
I
or are
think
they
it depends.
intertwined?
I think it depends on their mindset, and I don't have privilege to that. Um, can a man have a preference to say yes? But it almost makes you think, well, why wouldn't you prefer, or why wouldn't you give someone else the option to fill that slot? Even on both sides, there are women that prefer lighter men. It happens on both sides, but it's almost as if, did you have a bad experience? Is there a reason, or are you just saying no? I just prefer this. So it could be taken either way.
Um, I'm gonna say that a lot of times our preferences are rooted in our experiences. Our experiences are usually taught, something we have gone through, etc. When you don't like something or this, here's
Mhm.
my issue. Let me pause. I want to make sure I'm saying this right. My issue is this. My issue is not who you like; it's how you go about it. And unfortunately, because we're talking about black men, I presume black men in this social media space
They need to get out.
continue to perpetuate anti-blackness. It goes beyond I
How?
just
Talk
like a
about
lighter
that.
skinned
How
woman.
do you see that?
Let's talk about our superstars. Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
So Chris Brown, awesome singer. Praise God. But there are countless, countless cases where this man has made it his point to excuse dark skinned women out of sections at events. That's beyond preference.
Okay.
To say you can't sit with us, that's beyond preference. That's prejudice. So we have to use the definition. I'll give you another example. Men, our brothers, and I love y'all real bad. I want y'all to stop it for real. They get on social media and instead of saying that they like other women, they tell you they like them because they don't like us for XYZ reason. They can't
Right.
just say I like a white woman. It's just gonna be black women.
They
Black
always got to
women.
down you. They always got to down you.
Oh my God.
Hmm.
So when you always have to speak about people who look like your mama in a
Talk about it.
disparaging format, people who look like your grandma
Yeah. These
in a
women are racist.
disparaging manner, you have self-hate issues. And it could have been taught because who did your daddy date? I never forget on the Campbells, Mary. Erica
Yeah.
had a show. Erica and her husband had a show.
Yeah.
And her daughter started crying to her about colorism.
Yes.
I remember.
This was the one time, to me, Erica dropped the ball. Her daughter started crying to her about colorism and how she was dark skinned. And she said, well, you have my face. You talking about features. This girl talking about color. She said, you have my face. And she said, yeah, but I don't look like y'all.
Yeah.
And she said, look at our family. Now, this is why it matters who you mate with, because you teaching with who you make your partner.
100.
Teaching your children with who you make your partner. She said, all the men in our family have light-skinned wives. Daddy.
Yeah. Uncle
Teddy. I mean, she just went through all of them. So you're teaching your child. You never said anything. You never had to open your mouth. But desirability is a part of colorism. Because if I'm looking around and I see every dark-skinned person on TV can't get a man, every dark-skinned woman in my family can't get a man, but all the light-skinned ones
got a man
are desired, what does that tell a child?
And
because you are dark, you're not desirable.
She's the darkest child.
Yes, she is.
Yes.
Out of both of their families. Tina and Eric. Okay.
Pastor Yum Yum has made her arrival, and we're so glad to have you, my sister, Pastor Angela. She says, and I have an issue with them because my Caucasian brothers show little to no affection, but I observe my Caucasian brothers do.
I think she meant black brothers.
I think,
yeah. Right, got it. I do agree with that.
I do too.
But you got to be careful with that, even, right? Because it was just like with what Coach Crystal said earlier. Am I being fetishized?
Yeah, because they want what they can't have. Well, what they believe.
Yes,
they can't have.
It's a lot.
And if they're gonna treat, and then they come right behind, they're watching. They watch how black men treat us.
Yeah.
And they say, oh, I can slide in right here. Now, granted, I'm not saying that there are not biracial relationships where there is love. I'm not saying that. But some, they watch and then they fill the gap.
On the topic of celebrities, are these men and or women, do you consider them colorists because the brother goes and gets a white wife? I cannot remember who said it. I wish I could remember, but whoever it was making a speech about a lot of our black athletes going to get white wives. Colorist or preference or prejudice?
Who you asking?
Whoever want to answer it.
Not me.
All right. All right. So it's not colorist. I believe it's self-hate. Do I think everybody hates themselves? No. But I'll say it's on two different on both sides, the white women and the black man. And this is historic. Okay. My issue is black men, when y'all do this, okay. Listen, if you want to date Katie, date Katie.
Yeah.
Don't disparage black women in your process.
Yeah.
And then when something catastrophic happens between you and Katie, don't come running to us asking us to march for you. That be my problem right there. I'm not getting on the front line and you disparage black women your whole life. And then when this white lady did something that's catastrophic, y'all want us on the front line. I'm not doing it. That's just me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I got that. Kashima, welcome. Thank you for joining us
Hey,
tonight.
girl.
We appreciate you. Um, this quote right here, if I can stop touching stuff,
Oh,
um, I'll get back to my quote. Are you talking about Cat Williams? That's who I'm talking about. Thank you, Charlotte. That on Shannon Sharp's podcast or whatever, it was Cat Williams that said that.
he did say that.
He
Mhm.
did say it, and he's on the inside, so I'm like, he know what he's talking about. That whole thing. I'm sorry. No, I ain't sorry. That man didn't sit up there and tell lies for 3 hours.
No, he did not.
Okay.
No, he
Do I
did not.
believe all of it was true? No, but all of it wasn't lies either.
And
I believe that
I'm
man
not
told
even
a
gonna
lot of
say
truth.
that some of it was a lot, an exaggeration, maybe, but
Maybe.
it's a base to it.
Yeah. I agree.
That happened
Yeah.
in January, and when I tell you, I don't know if we need to give Cat William a collar because that man sat there and prophesied this whole year. Every
Did
week, something has
did
come to pass about that he done said on that show.
you
But
are absolutely right.
yeah, we see it. Why do we have to pretend like we don't see
Yeah.
successful? I will never forget the documentary. There was one called Dark Girls and one called Light Girls, and they both
Yes.
aired on OWN.
Yeah.
And on the Light Girls, a black, dark-skinned man, I'll never forget it, sat up there and said, well, we like exotic
Mm-hmm. That's their word.
women, love that word. And how you're not exotic and you from Africa? What is your definition of exotic? But anyway, he said we like exotic women because they look like trophies.
And that's
Hmm.
what they want.
But I'm confused because this is a trope that goes back to slavery.
Slavery.
Forget that. We could go back to the Bible
We
with
can go
Joseph
back to the Bible.
and Potiphar's wife.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sheridan.
Yeah.
Okay? So where a black or African man is the plaything of white women. We could go back to Emmett Till. Why he died? For whistling at a white woman, and the white man came after him. It is historic. But y'all keep playing, not y'all, not you, brother. Y'all, brothers, keep playing into it. And then look at us like something wrong with us. But it's history repeating itself all over again.
There's nothing new under the sun. Nothing is new.
Nothing new.
It just comes back in a different package, but it's not new.
Yeah.
If Coach Crystal, if you hear a child say this,
Ooh.
what does that say to you?
Well, I wish I was light skinned like my mama. Something has happened, or someone has said something, but it's sad because what they need to know, every color, every shade of brown is beautiful. Every shade of brown is beautiful. It's not going to, well, in today's world, it might get you a little further, or maybe they've seen something that their mother received that they haven't received, or that they think they can't, or you got kids at school who harass them. I'm reading a book. It's called A Hell of a Book. And there's a scene in there where there's a young man who is dark, like midnight dark.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another black boy on the bus almost harassing him. Why are you so black? Why are you black like this? Why are you so black? And he can't. Well, I was born like this. I'm made perfect in God's image, so I was born like this. This is what He wanted for me. But I think it's sad, and I think that there needs to be a talk that needs to be had, because I believe that parents should be transparent. Even though you're light skinned, your life ain't been all good. And you need to talk to your kid and express that to them, to let them know that just by being light skinned doesn't mean that your life is going to be better.
Yeah. Charlotte said, I watched a movie where a Caucasian man dated out of his race, and he played her like a fiddle and killed her, and then admitted to killing different races for fun.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I want to know what that movie is so I can watch it and get mad.
You just want to be mad, Lord help.
Ain't that what we do?
No, we do it. Let me see it so I can get mad. Sheridan, my last question on this topic for tonight. This has really been a great discussion, and I really wish it could be discussed on a broader scale because, as you can see, you guys just watch it. Like I said at the beginning, this is real. It's a real thing, and it's not them against us. It's us against us. Okay.
100%.
Sheridan, can the church somehow counteract colorism? If so, how?
Yeah. The same way um that mother who benefits from colorism can say to her child, you know what, I got privilege, but you beautiful. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. The church can tell the truth. The scripture says, and they shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. So the thing about the black church is that we are historically in our country not only a space for spiritual growth, um, we are also the space for social growth. So, as in the 60s and the 50s, even further back, when slaves were running away, guess where they hid out?
The church.
Mhm.
At the church. Okay. That Underground Railroad, there were stops at the church.
Mm-hmm.
The 50s and 60s, the civil rights movement, where was they meeting up?
Church.
At the church. Okay. So, church, pastors, you see the kids. You can, if you have the budget to do so, you can have therapists and counselors that converse with the kids. If not, at minimum, your youth leaders can absolutely speak with them. And then it's not just about kids. That's the root, okay? Because they go out and perpetuate these things. But
Mm-hmm.
when you see that parent pushing that lighter skinned child forward, you need to question things. Don't act like you don't see things. Facilitate programs to help all the people.
Mm-hmm.
Where you see colorism in a choir, or a musician that is doing some things he shouldn't be doing and favoring one group over another. All that. Speak up. Where you see something, church, say something. A lot of times we are willfully obtuse in our community. I just don't know. Baby, you 53.
You
When
know.
you do research.
You
Yeah.
know.
So at some point, we all can contribute by simply counteracting what we see.
Charlotte, I would do that, but I would want somebody on the panel who is willing to be honest and say, yeah, or I think I'm better, or I used to feel like I was better because of. I would need somebody who was willing to be honest in order to really, really have that discussion on the front line. But understand it did cross my mind. Yes, it did. Um, See something, say something. So I think that we do. Your aunt said it needs to be discussed in schools. It needs to be discussed in our churches. I'm going to talk to our youth leader, Danisha, to see if she could. Okay, okay. To see if she could have this discussion with the youth at SDMI Church. Um, I want to switch gears for the next 6 minutes, and then we can go.
Okay.
Thank you all too for participating in the comment section. I appreciate that, but don't leave. Don't leave, because I want to talk about something for the next 5 to 6 minutes. I want to talk about grace, and the reason for that is since yesterday, I have seen a number of known Christian people on social media expressing in no certain terms or no uncertain terms that they believe that Diddy does not deserve the grace of God. Now, we all saw the video.
Mm-hmm.
What that man did was despicable. And I immediately, and I'll be honest, I said to myself, somebody should do him the same way he did her, right? And we know that wasn't the only time he did that to her. We know she wasn't the only one that got it like that.
There you go.
Let's just keep that real.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. His apology, in my opinion only, it was trash. I think he did it simply because he got caught.
Mm-hmm.
Had that video not come out, we would have never got this apology, right?
Right.
However, he said something about reaching out, and asking God for grace and for mercy and blah, blah, blah. And I want to read this to you. This is something that I experienced today. It was about him, talking to God or whatever, right? Asking for grace. And this Christian man was basically saying, "Nah, that ain't gonna work. No, right?" So I bit. I typically don't, but I did, and I said, "Does not God's grace apply to Diddy like it does to you and I?" Yeah, he's trash, no doubt. Um, with a laughing emoji, but I was serious. His response was, "You being slow on purpose." Got
Ooh.
it. So that right there kind of, I don't understand why we feel like certain people don't deserve grace. Like I thought we all, it was for grace for all.
Correct.
It grace covers even what Sean Combs did.
I think that people don't take the Bible into context. The people who are in the Bible, who God used the most, were the low of the low. And the bottom line is, Sean Puffy Combs is going to get the grace, whether you say yes or no. That's
Facts.
between him and God. We're not in charge of that. And a
Yeah.
lot of us have done a whole lot of things that just didn't get recorded.
Huh? But let me tell you right now, you want to pull some tears out of me, talk about the grace. Because I have needed it
You get it daily. Grace and mercies are
over and over and
renewed
over and over and over.
daily. So his graces and mercies have already been renewed.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people think because they're celebrities or they're in the eye of the world that they're supposed to be perfect, and they're not. And a
Yeah.
lot of them have been crying out for help the whole while.
Yeah.
But you just been patting them on the back for the things that you decide are the good things that they are doing. Kanye West, he been crying out for a
Kanye's
long time.
another one. Yes.
R. Kelly, he told
Yeah.
y'all from the jump he needed help. Nobody did
Yeah.
nothing.
I agree. Charlotte says sometimes I think people think they're God, and that's true. You don't get,
They
but
do.
you don't get to decide who gets grace and who don't. Your
Uh-huh.
raggedy tail needed it, so how come the next person don't get it? Sheridan, you had your hand up.
I did. I'm gonna slightly disagree, and here's where I disagree. I definitely think God gives everybody grace. Praise God.
For sure.
Praise God.
I cannot. None of us can speak for God as far as when it comes to repentance. But this man, okay, we're talking about in this scenario is totally different from receiving the grace of God. The grace of God does not always mean you get to restore back to where you exactly were.
Absolutely.
No, no.
And so what he did, no, I'm saying that because sometimes when we make comments like that, people read it as we should just be like, okay, he made a mistake. He didn't make a mistake.
No, that wasn't no mistake.
He did that on purpose.
He made choices and been making choices. He has not been crying out for help. He has been crying out for a cover up. And so when it comes to who I enjoy as far as my entertainment, I choose to not support colorists. Once I realize you're a colorist, I'm good on you. I choose not to support men who beat women. I choose not to support racists. We have to remove our support from these people. God is also a God of justice.
Facts.
100%.
This man, where did he apologize and to whom?
Well, he was talking because he never said her name. He never.
That's
and
true.
he
Who
also
he was apologizing to.
correct. And so to me, what we witnessed was not an apology or an ask for grace. He literally said, "I'm not asking."
That's why I put apology in air quotes.
Right. And so he said he wasn't asking for forgiveness. I'm glad you said that, sir, Mr. Combs, sir. He said he wasn't asking for forgiveness, and I'm glad because what he told us is this is PR. Public relations.
You know it is. You
So
know it is.
I don't want to have I'm not gonna tell you I got grace for your PR because that's what you asking me to accept your PR so that you can remain in the position that you have been in. God's love covers a multitude of sins. Now go over there. Be healed, be free over there. I don't have to keep on letting you be in this light because what are we saying to women? We have to be careful because what is the messaging that we are giving to women? Sometimes it seems like we're in the name of Jesus supposed to accept all kind of nasty, dark abuse and behavior and say, well, God forgive, he made a mistake. Girl, forgive him from over there.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing with Mr. Combs. God bless you. He can go on to the island where Russell Simmons at in Bali and be forgiven over there. I ain't got nothing for you.
Here's the thing. Rihanna said it best. Don't tell me you're sorry because you're not. When I know you're only sorry because you got caught.
That's always it. Because he denied it from day one. He denied it from day one. That's not what I did. I didn't do this. Well, for me, I never had any disbelief in Cassidy because I don't know what's done in the dark. He could be doing anything. And I've always thought that there was always something funny with the fact that there were so many women, so many mothers of his kids. What is happening? And then I think it was Misa who had a couple of words for him when Justin got arrested, which all the more made me think, well, I can't put it past them. I can't just say you didn't do it.
Yeah.
So, because
that's Aubrey Day had been trying to tell the people what was up with him.
But here's the thing about that's why I don't like having the grace conversation in public platforms underneath the fake apology, because it makes it seem like God's people are apologists for abuse. And I know that wasn't your intention. I know it wasn't. I know. Of course not. But that's what we do. We put the Jesus Band-Aid over it so that people are not held accountable. And so my issue is this, Mr. Combs, you further abused her by calling her a liar through your lawyer. Rodney Jones lawsuit, all the happenings with that. 3 days ago, you said time 3 days prior. Now, this is how God works, since we want to bring God into it. 3 days. That's a shout. Prior to the exposure, the man prophesied to his own self, saying, "Time will reveal truth." Did he not?
He did. I saw it.
3 days later, he rose again with this video in our hands. So you prophesied it, lived through it, I ain't got nothing to do with the grace God got for you. I pray He had a grace for you on the other side. I don't have nothing to do with that.
John said his grace covers all, but our actions can also frustrate the grace of God. He's in a bad space right now because he's been exposed. God will still give him grace to endure whatever consequences may come, but be not deceived. God will not be mocked. And he goes on and on and preached, and that is the end.
And the truth
of that.
And they shall
mic drop. Okay. Guys, thank you all for tuning in tonight. What a conversation tonight. What a conversation. Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Sheridan, for being with us. Sheridan, I got a message for you from somebody. I'm going to text you after this. Somebody called my phone today.
Is there a heart in the house tonight?
No. Listen, guys, next Monday is Memorial Day. We will not be here. We are taking the night off to celebrate. I think I have to work.
I hope not.
I think I have to work next Monday. I'll know for sure Wednesday whether or not I have to work, but I hope I don't. But I really want to thank each and every one of you in the comments for talking with us tonight. We appreciate it. You are always welcome here at the Self-Checkout Show. It is your favorite Christian talk show. Yeah, she was killing me with the Mr. Combs, okay?
Okay.
that thing was taking me, all right? Indeed, a good conversation. I want to encourage all of you to have this conversation with your families. Have this conversation about colorism with your children. Get your children's views on these types of things. And as much as we have said, we know that it goes all the way back to slavery. But some stuff, parents are not, you can't be with your children all day, every day. You don't know what they're taking in.
Yeah.
You don't know what they're seeing. You don't know what they're experiencing. Be invested enough in your child's life to ask, how was your day today?
Yeah.
Because you would be surprised at some of the answers that you get. And the fact that we still have to deal with a black child saying to another black child, you're black so-and-so.
Yeah.
Because they are darker skinned than them. It's horrible. It's despicable. I hate it. But it's reality. So let's have the conversations in our homes. We need to have them in our schools. We need to have them in our churches. I am indeed, Charlotte, going to put out a poll to see if anyone will be honest enough to say, yes, I have felt that way or still do feel this way, because I want to talk to that person, or I want to talk to that people.
She has a nonprofit on her Essence. She has a nonprofit called Crowns at Central State. So I did make the suggestion that they do a panel on it, because they do a lot of very deep conversations to try to guide those girls in the right way, and to give them information and to keep them informed and to keep them motivated, So yeah, she's going to look into doing that.
All right. Awesome. I will take a look at that. I want to thank you guys again, everybody, for being here. Wherever you're viewing, we appreciate you. We will be back on the show on Monday, June 3rd. We are off next week for Memorial Day. For Coach Crystal, for Sheridan Davis, I'm Pastor Will. This is the Self-Checkout Show. We love you. We appreciate you. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Good night, everybody.
Good night.